Does Governor Orr need an airplane? Secretary of State candidate Evan Bayh calls it an unnecessary luxury.
A massive record collection goes on the auction block.
Financial expert has some advice on how to turn your ideas into money.
What do you do when you're a disc jockey and you've got too many records to keep? I'm David Barris, and we'll have the off-the-record story later on News 8.
Of all the things to
Sometimes people are forced to part with their cherished items. Well, such is the case of an Indianapolis disc jockey whose 12-year collection is up for sale. News 8's David Barris has the story.
No, this is not a record store. This is Charlie Brown's Indianapolis living room. But you can buy any album you see because Charlie and family are moving to a house and don't want to move the albums with them.
It's very cumbersome, it's very heavy. I just decided it's time to trim it down.
How many records would you say you have?
Right now, about 3,000. It's been trimmed down from about 5,000 over the last year or so.
Charlie says about 50 or 60 people have sifted through his collection, which ranges from pop rock to jazz and comedy. A collection he has put together over 12 years, from songs of the 40s to songs of the 80s.
I was a record fanatic. I started out in high school, really junior high. I liked all kinds of music. I got into the disc jockey profession, and I just kept acquiring more records. And for the various projects that I've done over the years, I just kept acquiring more, and it seemed like every year I kept getting more and more records.
Among them, a pink Dolly Parton and a clear gold Dolly Parton. There is this one, which he says is a collector's item and would cost you about $25.
I got this basically because I liked the way it was pressed. I've never played it, but I like the way it was pressed.
What is it?
It's essentially a 12-inch single from a band called Depeche Mode.
Of course, there are plenty for those who prefer something a little less radical. There's a certain irony in all of this. If you should happen to find a particular album that you're fond of and you'd like to play it before you leave, you will find you cannot, for the man with 3,000 records has traded in his turntable for video. Most of the albums run a few dollars. The 45s are only 25 cents a piece. Charlie says he probably won't be able to sell them all, but he's willing to listen to any offer, although he admits his son has already picked out a few of his own favorites to save. David Barris, Wish TV, News 8.
Speaking of youth, Indiana through the eyes of youth. That's what you'll see as you drive around the Circle barricade that embraces the soldiers' misguided costume.
Michael.